This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains spoilers from We Shall Be Monsters, with mentions of the Jasmine Throne, the Black Witch Chronicles, and the Daevabad trilogy. For full list, please see show notes.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing We Shall Be Monsters by Tara Sim.
This book wasn't even on our radar, so we want to thank Penguin Teen for reaching out to us directly, making ARCs available for us. So glad they did. Thank you so much. Because this has all the stuff that we love. I mean, I had read the blurb. We obviously said yes. We love the pitch. And then I forgot all about the blurb and went right into chapter 1. And I was like, oh, this is Laura's shit. Like, no wonder she has been like, and I'm reading it again, and it's so good, and it's all vibes, which is so nice because this book is based on and pulls a lot from Indian mythology, which I don't have a lot of background in. I know the bear. I know, like, from what we've read from the Jasmine Throne and the Oleander sword, and like a lot of things that you've educated me on, Laura, with your background in world religions and religious studies and just like the media that we consume. So that's the whole experience was really fun. And like, Laura, you've read this twice.
Yes, I read this twice. I had so much fun. I'm gushing. I am so ready to talk about this. I have in my hands right now, the syllabus for, I'm just going to go through it. It is the syllabus for my Religion 337 fall 2000 and something. It doesn't matter what year it was. It doesn't matter.
Undergrad
2000 and something. It doesn't matter. This is Hindu religion and culture, location in the LBC 44, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 to 10:50, Dr. Taneja. I had a more than basic background in Hinduism and Hindu religion and culture when I approached this book, We Shall Be Monsters. I will say, though, that my information is rusty. I was rusty. So several things happened, and a lot of it was just glorious. I was going through my books so that I could pull out some of my hardcover and softcover copies of Amber Nicole's books so that I could do some pictures. And as I was doing that, this red folder that contained all of my Hindu religion and culture notes came out, just like popped out of nowhere. And I was like,
quite literally smacked you in the face.
Yeah. I was like, that's
you
weird.
Need me.
Yeah, it's like, you need me. That's weird. I wonder, okay. So I put it aside, and then I started reading this book. And I was like, oh my goodness, I really need this. And you're like, well, why do you need all of your notes from this class? Oh, I don't know, because as soon as I opened my folder, the very first, it's in the pocket, has the definitions of tamas, sattva, rajas, all of the stuff that we are talking about in this book. My notes right there, my handwriting from grad school or undergrad. Sorry. It was incredible. It was this really weird kind of coincidence that happened. And let me tell you, I needed it. I needed it because my first read through, I was like, God, I am so rusty. These notes came out of nowhere. Let me look again. Let me kind of put myself back in the mindset of Jasmine Throne, Oleander Sword, of these kind of mythologies that are so different from kind of the like Western, I guess, mythology, you know, fairies and elves and kind of the things that we are more familiar with.
Yeah, I feel like the fantasy that's in mythologies that are in, I think it's fair to say mainstream media, because I mean, we have it and literally like that's kind of like between Lord of the Rings and House of the Dragon, and even with, you know, when it's pulled from Marvel movies, you have, you know, Nordic mythology going on. So it is really fun. I feel like I'm going to do you, Laura, and all the listeners like an injustice for not being as educated as you are in this. It's like, this is going to be just me like Envy and Inside Out with the starry eyes looking at Laura the whole time, like this, like the educator that she is with this, because it really was. It was so fun, and it felt fresh. And I feel like that's also what made you so excited too.
Yeah, because we're talking about the Indian mythology part of this, but the other huge part of this is a fucking Frankenstein retelling. Like, oh my God. Like, are you ready? Like, let's do this. It's a Frankenstein retelling. So the kind of combination, the meshing of these two things is just fantastic. And that is where, Jess, I think you are incorrect, if you don't mind me saying so. You have a very sound foundational knowledge of pop culture and Frankenstein. Like you know that story. You're aware of it.
And even from, because I know we recently read Darken, one of the things that we took away was that it was a retelling of history. And I feel like this book, although it's not a retelling, it is pulling from Indian mythology. You want to stop and educate yourself. Just like when we were saying, like reflecting back on Darken, like it was a moment where you're like, well, let me look up all this stuff. Is some of this true? And whereas in this book, I felt like it took me longer to read because I could have chosen to either, you know, go over some words, which I did initially. And then when I kept seeing reoccurring words, I was like, okay, well, what is this? Who is this? This is obviously very important and prominent in the culture. I mean, we have Lisa, who is our FMC's sister. She is a Bhuta, Bhuta, because her body isn't burned. Spoiler, first chapter, I guess, and blurb on the back. Her sister died. And if you don't burn the body within 6 months of a person's death, it turns into a Bhuta, which honestly doesn't sound so terrible, because when you come back, you're chasing everybody who's ever wronged you and wronged the people you love. Like, sign me up. That sounds like a blast. But they're like, yeah, but then they get a little power hungry, because once all vengeance is fulfilled, now they're like super Bhutas and turn into a wraith-like creature. And now they just kill to kill instead of vengeance. So that's pretty much where her story kind of kicks off, almost like 5 chapters in.
Yeah, 5 chapters in. Let's talk about the first sentence. I'll just paraphrase this for you, because we're not quoting, because we have the arc, so we are respecting the boundaries. But the very first sentence talks about our main character Kajal having the absolute worst time of it, because she has to break out of her coffin, and that if you read the book and you go back and you read that first sentence, you're like, oh, that's the whole plot. Right there. All of it. The fact that she burst out of her coffin at all is the entire plot. And it is just so fun, and it is so satisfying. And I think you get more or less all of it by chapter 5 if we're talking about the pattern. But Jess, here's the thing that I want to talk to you about. There are two, in my opinion, there are 2 big surprises in this book, and I did not see either one coming. I was so in this book. I was so enamored with the world. I was so just like going along with everything, very interested, that when these things happened, I was shook. I was shocked. I was staring at the book, like my jaw on the floor, like, oh my God, why? Why is it like that? And it was so fun. And I have not felt this rush of surprise in a long time, because I think that while we enjoy the pattern, we do kind of get a little stuck in those first chapters.
Yeah.
But this was just like a ride that I was on, and it was delightful and joyous. And when I finished,
we do get ourselves stuck in the pattern, because I've told you, I'm like, I keep looking. I was like, there's something going to be here, and I don't know what it is, even though I've never read the book before in my life.
And so this book was just so much fun. And also it was familiar, but also new. And like the groundwork of the familiarity was lovely, but also all the surprising things were just new and fun and twisty. And then, of course, it is set up for more books in the end. But yeah, Jess, I agree with you. I think a light touch here would be best, because let's have a lot more people read this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just, you want to get excited. You get into the book. You don't want to. I think it was chapter 2 or 3, and I'm saying very early. There was a moment where there was the boarding housekeeper, where, again, this is really she's such a small character in it, and in the main thing of things, but she dies. And at this point, I won't give her anything away, but my mind thought she had died, because I was like, oh, this is the magic. There needs to be balance. And then it wasn't that. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stop. I'm stopping the theorizing. Like, it was that moment where I was like, I'm not going to guess. I'm just going to write it out, because I've had sometimes it's like your theories are right. You're like, yes, this is the direction it's going. And sometimes you really just want to be like, you know what? Whether it's, set up there or not, I'm not going to overthink. I just want to enjoy. And it was that moment where I'm like, well, I don't know anything, so I'm just going to read.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this. I say a light touch. I'm still going to talk about the things. I'll give you a spoiler before I talk about the thing.
Spoiler thing. Fast forward 15 seconds.
Thing. Yeah, but like I'm still going to do it, because I was shocked. All right. Chapter 1, Kajal. I don't think it's any surprise that she's alive. She punches through her coffin. Hello. She is about to be burned in a town where there has been a cave-in. Her sister is dead. Her sister doesn't wake up. A demon arrives. A demon arrives, and instead of attacking them, Kajal to ride on its back until it goes wherever.
She's not burnt. She was like, my thighs feel a little warm and toasty. Not for like burning. Any sexual reason. She was literally like, you are a fire horse demon.
Yeah.
Why am I not burned?
Yeah, it's the Agora. And it's like, okay. And it also like gets on its legs for her. All of these things that on the first read, you're like, on the second read, you're like, it's lovely. And all of this to bury Lace's body, because she is dead. And just as you said in the beginning, when we're talking about like traditions and everything here, the soul is trapped in the body, and it has to be released by burning. And if it's not released, just as you said, it turns into the Buddha. So what happens is Kajal buries her sister in the ground, because the soil is blessed by the gods, and that soil will help preserve the body and the soul so that it doesn't decay.
Which, again, it is fantasy, it is mythology. You have to suspend your science belief, because the way I was like, well, technically decomposition happens, but it's explained in the book. It's, it's fantasy. It's air can't get to it, therefore it can't decompose. It's explained. It's coded. And that's one thing with this book is that even if you don't have a background, you can still enjoy yourself. And I think that's really important to know.
Yeah. And also there's a dog, which is just,
the dog Katu.
It's a bonus. It's a bonus. It's a huge dog that Kajal has successfully reincarnated. This is her first success. There's been a lot of chickens that have not been a success.
I have a question because this is something that I was thinking about. I understand it's reincarnation, but because we are using a lot of the same bodies here, could it be argued that it's necromancy too?
I don't know.
Because necromancy, historically, from what we know with like different mythologies, is frowned upon.
Yeah.
But reincarnation, not so much.
And also, I think that the fact that, spoiler, I guess, but Kajal is a Dakini. She's a witch. So she doesn't really know that yet, but we'll get there.
We know it. Yeah.
we know it. We know. So she is able to work the ancient. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. I'm good on pronunciations. I'm not great on that one, but it is the ancient medical practice.
The Ayurveda.
Yeah. I trip on it. She practices that, and she, through using that, is able to restore life to dead bodies. Like I guess we could say reanimate them would be a better word.
Because I will say, like, even in the beginning of the book, when she is resurrecting, reincarnating, reanimating Katu, I felt like there were no spells said. There was just like
the chakras.
Materials. Yeah, it was just the chakras and like the material, you need a slab, you need a salt, you need the chakras, but there was no words. It was just kind of like energy, I think is really what it was.
And also, just kind of the last point to that, I don't think it would be necromancy because, I guess Kata comes back and doesn't eat, but
right.
the boys come back fine. And usually with necromancy, they don't, right? Like there's something wrong.
Like their body is there, but their soul, and every necromancy story is very different. Aside from Buffy, shout out Buffy, but like she had to get through some shit too.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's kind of what is going on here. But we also have politics, and also the king is promoting his personal army going out and witch hunting, and demon hunting, which brings us to demon hunters in the town where Kajal is with her dog. And there is now the introduction of the blight, and through this blighted buck that is killed, showing us that the blight is rotting the fields where Kajal has to work, rotting the foods and the trees and the plants, and also now rotting the animals, contaminating them. And it is not clear how the blight spreads or what caused it or what is being done to contain it. So that is what is happening kind of in our world.
Yeah, and the only correlation to the specific town that Kajal is in at the beginning of the book is that she's just trying to work for a living, stay under the radar, because she ultimately wants to reincarnate her sister. So she's working the fields, and the town's correlation is we never had the blight, and you showed up, and now the blight's here. So you are going to be our scapegoat for all things.
Yeah.
The death of people, the death of, where you're staying.
Landlord,
your landlord, her son. Meanwhile, it's her sister, like, you fucked with my sister, which I love.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. Lisa is killing all of these people, and she is appearing to Kajal as she's got like red eyes, and she's like, translucent, but like kind of white. And there's a whine that happens like that Kajal hears. And if Kajal denies Laysa a kill, then Laysa will turn on Kajal and try to kill her. And it is through various interventions that Kajal is not killed by Laysa. And I love Laysa later being like, I remembered all of that.
She's a real one.
She's a real one. She's a real one. She's a bad bitch.
I just don't think there's enough characters who are written like Laysa, like the characters that we love. Because I always think, I was like, wow, people are so much better and so much kinder than I, because this is how I roll. And I was telling my therapist about it too. And then we were like breaking that down, which is super fun. And she's like, and that's okay. And I was like, I got the okay from my therapist that I could be an angry bitch.
Hey, I know this is an arc. This is an arc we're not supposed to quote. I know I'm going to paraphrase. There is a really fantastic line in chapter 5, and it is something along the lines of girls who know too much and who don't fall into line. Those women, those girls must be full of the opposite of light. There, I'm paraphrasing. Give me my degree. That quote, when this book comes out and is finalized, that quote is banging. It's banging, and it's really good. And it kind of just sums up everything. Kajal obviously is in jail. She is broken out by our introduction of rebels. This is Vivan and Sizal, and they've got a bargain. They've got a bargain, Jess. What's our bargain?
If you come help us, well, here's the thing. They have a bargain, and they're like, if you help us, we know who you are. We actually have your notebook with all of your notes on how to resurrect your sister. You help us do the thing that we need to do, and we'll help you get your sister. She's buried, so we can help you resurrect her. And that's part of, like, and the big thing with Kajal right now is she knows what it's like to be a woman traveling. She knows what it's like to be a woman traveling solo, and it kind of puts everybody on alert, including the Vadir, who, am I saying that right? Who, I can't wait to read this book when the audio comes out, because I'm going to know the pronunciations better. Because they will kind of any woman traveling alone kind of puts everybody on edge, because, you know, you have that whole, it's very much the Salem witch factor. It's like, who are you? How do you feel so confident traveling by yourself? You must have Dakini witch powers because you feel so confident to not be under, security of a man. And that has been a big limiting thing for Kajal at this point, but now she's making this bargain. And at the same time, she's like, honestly, I can either die or this is an option. So I don't even have any room to bargain. And they have all the information I need anyway, especially with them holding my notebook. So I guess this is the lesser of the evils with my choices. So she makes this agreement, to work with them.
Yeah. And they want to depose King Bakshi. They're like, we're going to depose the king, and we need your help, and we will go get your sister. We'll get your sister. That's part of it. We'll bring your sister back because we are going to the university, because there's a school here we have to go to, because we have a little, it's not a magic school. It's not a magic school, but it's a school.
Yeah. This is like where the politics start, because you're led to believe it's a magic school, only to find out that King Bakshi has ulterior motives of denouncing magic, really.
Yep. Fun stuff. Okay. So, she takes the bargain, obviously. Obviously, she takes the bargain. Vivan and Sizal end up saving Kajal from her ordeal of poison that she was going to have to do. And they skedaddle on out of there. And the dog also comes as well, of course.
Yeah, that was part of the bargain. She was like, here are my rules. You have to, I will help you if you help me get my sister. And the dog gets to come. And we love the dog.
Yep. Like
he's another real one. He's another one. He's like, oh, you're hurting my girl, then I'm going to attack you. And he understands, like, not just commands, but conversations. So she would be like, I wonder if this is like a sire situation because I brought him back to life. So she'd have conversations with him and he would do it. He would do the commands. He was such a smart boy. He's such a good boy.
He's such a good boy. So sweet. So sweet. All right. So we are on our way. We are on our way to school. And Kajal starts comparing herself to her sister and talking about how her sister was always the good one and how she was always the one getting in trouble, and not necessarily the bad one, but like the one that made things not easy for them. And her sister had to like smooth things over. And so like later I was like, oh, duh, it's right here. And we'll talk about it later, but it starts here in chapter 7. But this is where they run into the Pujari priest who turns out to be blighted and attacks them later. And that is very scary.
That scene was the first time. And this is we were fortunate to receive this from Penguin Teen. So this is a YA book, but that scene did not feel YA. Like I felt like that was a very horror movie scene. And I guess you can argue that like a lot of horror movies start with like a PG-13 rating. But damn, you could just feel the fear in that scene. Cause she even said, she's like, I don't know. The only way to kill anything or anyone that's blighted is to kill them, and to kill a priest is completely sacrilegious. So they tried to avoid it initially. They really did, until, they need their rest, and the Pujari priest does not stop because apparently the blight doesn't stop you anymore. You are not tired. And he came after them and they had to kill him.
Yes, they did. And it very, very scary. It's very scary. It's very scary. World building. The concept of dharma and being on your divine purpose and like fulfilling your divine purpose is introduced here. And that is important later when we're introduced to the Naji. We talk about the usurper Vakshi and how he killed the royal family, and how, Crown Prince Advaith like rode out to meet him on the Harama plain. It was a whole thing. As we're getting this world building, Kajal is stealing almonds and creating a poison because she's smart. So, all right. We love it.
She's still in like survival mode because she doesn't know who these people are. Yeah. She's like, everything is all like, everybody's looking out for themselves.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. And it is also here that we learn that the politics are happening. Like a prominent family is financially backing this enterprise to go get the body of the crown prince from the plane, which is what we're doing and where we're going before we go to school. And it is it's a scary place. There's all these butas everywhere, and loud noise attracts them. Strong emotions attracts them. Like even like strong breathing, and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm just supposed to ignore them." Like, what the fuck?
Am I supposed to hold my breath? How are we doing this? And we're like, we'll figure it out.
Like, are you serious? But eventually, Kajal does find a body. She's led to that body by white butterflies to a barrow, and she like uncovers it. And it's like, hey, is this the guy? And they're like, that's the guy. All right, see his armor? That's the guy.
Which is so funny because you're like, that was the only indication for them to, which in hindsight, why I didn't even ask I think it was because I turned thoughts off, because I would have been like, we didn't specify. How do we know that this is the guy? They just said the crest, the royal crest. But then technically, when you're in a royal army, you have the royal crest on, even if you aren't a prince. So it could have been anybody out there.
Yeah, it's like, all right. But then Vivon and Cesal are like, that's him, get him, that's him. And it's like, all right, well, they would know.
Yeah, and Vivon said, like, I know what he looks like. We have pictures of him all over in the town that I'm from. Like, I am doubling down and saying, yes, that's definitely him. So, like, put him on the back of my horse.
Yeah, like, all right, let's go. As they do that, the ground splits and there's this whole big scene where they have to flee. It's very good. But then we are sneaking into the university. We are introduced to Jasmine, Jessie. I love that. Jessie.
I love it. Jessie.
And here we are working in a private lab because we are going to resurrect. We are resurrecting our crown prince. We've got to do that. It is also here that we're introduced to our foil, Jagvir, our guard, who is angry and suspicious and mean about curfew. Ooh, not good.
And he's not the university guard. He's the guard who's part of the Vadir, who on like a scale is like on a higher level than the university guard. So he has more power. And Jassie's already like, oh, he's just pissed because he was working on a mission and it fell through. And this kind of circled back to something that Kajal was saying, which was, oh shit, Vivon and Cecil were right. People were on the hunt for me. I thought they were just making some shit up. So 2 people were basically after Kajal because they had known that she had escaped the pyre from chapter 1, took her sister and rode off into the sunset or night set on a fire demon horse. And so she is kind of like most wanted right now, more for Inquisition than anything.
Which is why she's hiding under the name Nisa as Jasmine's sister in the university. Fun. We are introduced to Dalbir. They are the son, I think it's the 3rd son of the Sodis. We're also introduced to Veridica, and she is like our demon hunter enemy, our top student at the school, and her and Kajal like really butt heads.
Of course they do, because she's she's all like, I'm better than everyone.
Yep, it's like, we have our world building of Svaria, Martia, and Patala. That's essentially like heaven, mortal plane, and hell. I mean, for simplifying it, that is not what it is. Do not associate the names. I'm just organizing it for our silly Western brains. And we have the introduction of Tamas and Satya and the Asura, and the Deva.
Which are 3 forms of karma, which you taught me. I remember that one.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
Oh, and then our 3 forms of karma are also depicted in our physical shape and even like our familial placements. Thank you, Laura.
Very good. Tamas is
it was a gold star. Can we just throw gold stars through the screen?
It's like woo. Tamas is the darker energy. Sattva is the Yaksha, right, our light energy, and the Ashura and the Deva are ambassadors, maintaining everything. They are human, but more. They are very important later, and the concept of balance, right? Balance is very important. And then Rita in class is like, yo, but like the Asura is evil. And then comes the whole thing of like, no, it's not evil. It's just opposite of like the like harmony and goodness. And it's only when these things are in balance, the 2 work in balance, that we have harmony throughout the land. And like more of one is not good and like more of the other is not good. It has to be balanced.
Well, and that's why the blight has taken over too, is because there is no balance with King Bakshi at the helm of everything. He's not allowing balance, and he's kind of pushing his agenda and his beliefs and his say. And that's why, but the people, like the wider people of society, isn't picking up on this. They're just like, oh, the blight is bad. The blight is because of this person or because of demons. And Kajal is just trying to like, no, that's not how any of this works. And people are in denial. It's that believing of like, well, he's the leader. He's overseeing everything. Why would he lie to us? And you're like, oh, honey.
Oh, honey. If the government doesn't, anyway.
I know
yes, they would. Okay. There's a little bit more interconnected politics here between Veridica and Kajal, and they have more confrontations and things. And Lesa is making a stronger appearance. She's attacking Kajal. She's really trying to kill anybody that upsets Kajal, which is like not good because Kajal, again, is like on the DL here at this school. So Kajal's like, all right, you know what? Fuck this. We're on a time frame. Let's resurrect the prince. I'm going to do it right now. I'm not telling anybody. Let's do it right now. Here's my first surprise, Jess. The identity of this guy. I was like, what? What? Tell us who this is.
We get Tavinder, who is he is the crown prince. He's the other crown prince that nobody knew about, and Advaith, the actual crown prince that we were trying to look for, he never told anybody. It was all because, so that's why, and they look alike. So that's why Vivaan was so assured, like, nope, that is Advaith. I've seen him in everything. Which, Laura, this actually reminded me of, this is good timing because I was just asking a question. This reminded me of the sword catcher. Remember when we weren't for a while supposed to know that the prince had this lookalike? God forbid anything were to happen. Like, that's what this scene reminded me of. Yes. Oh my God. So jaw on the floor. First of all, when it's like, okay. And he goes, I'm his brother. I was like, what?
What? Are you serious? Like, I was not expecting this at all. And he's like, and then he starts like freaking out, right? And honestly, I do feel like Tav's, his name's Tavinder. Tav's reaction here is mild compared to like what I would be doing. Like, cause he's like, I was dead. My brother's dead.
If I'm here, where's he? Like,
where's he?
Yeah.
Like, where's my family? Like, what is going on? Like, what? How long has it been? And the fact that Kajal's like, all right, yeah, cool. Stay here. Don't go anywhere. And he's like, all right, yeah, okay. And then just like leaves.
He's also the prince. Like, yes, it's been 20 years since this battle, which I was also like, I was mixed because I was like, 20 years isn't that long. And even though it is, you're just like, when you think of battles and stuff, he's like, oh, okay. One, I'm a prince. Yeah, I'm definitely going to listen to you. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to get my own answers. Like, I feel like that's more of a natural response than, okay, I'm going to listen to this person who just brought me back to life, apparently.
Yeah. And so he runs away essentially, and Kajal chases him, and he uses the yakshas to like trip her. And that I was like, okay. But then it is revealed that he is the deva. He is the deva of Savarga. And we have butterflies all around him, and Kajal looks at him. He's like, he's backlit with all the butterflies. Like, he looks divine. He looks like a god. Very fun. Because he is technically slightly divine. Very cool. It is revealed that the Asura is Advaith, his twin brother. Like, I was like, okay, all right, cool. I love the scenes where Tav wanders around his old palace. I love that trope. I don't know if that's a trope of like a character like comes back to the place where they were like last at because of some tragic circumstance, and they just wander around and like touch things and
have like silent moments.
Yeah,
you love a silent moment. You love that. You pick up on those little things.
Yeah, I really, really like it, and I like where he wanders here, and he starts talking about like, yeah, like we were, my brother and I, like we knew what we were. We were instructed like by the gods. We were trained when we were young. We met them when we were young. Like I know all of this. And it's like, okay, that's a detail that won't be important later, but it will be. A new bargain is struck though. And it was like, all right, well, fuck. Okay, says Kajal. You, Tav, you pretend to be your brother. Help out these rebels. Let's do what the rebels have to do, and then help me get my sister, right? And then once we do that, all of us together will go out and find Advaith and find out what the fuck is actually going on. And he's like, okay. I mean, I sure.
Kajal is very much I don't know. I feel like her having bargains with whoever. I mean, I guess it makes sense because she truly is in a place where I have nothing left to lose. The only thing that she was living for was bringing back her sister. So without her sister, she's got nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. Tav has nothing because he's got empty fucking hands because he cannot summon his weapon. He cannot. He's trying. He's like, it's not coming. It's not coming. The lore drops. His mom died of fever. His brother was guarded by Ranbeer, who had a gem of protection in his forehead. So where are they? What happened? Why isn't he here? He never would have left him. Like, all of these questions are really starting to happen. We have the river painting, which is not important now. It's important later, but it's important here. We see it. And also there's a lock of hair in Advaith's room. It is not discussed about what that is, but okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
These are those little things that you're like, I don't know what this means now, but we have a series.
Yeah, it's a series. We'll know what it is. We'll know what it is later. We have the Naga appearing when Dalbeer and Kajal are out looking for ingredients because Tav has passed out because his circulation isn't like awesome. So our doctor,
I wonder why he was dead.
There's
nothing. Well, this goes back to what Jassie was saying when she first met Katu, the dog. She's like, oh, that's pretty good. Is he normal? And he's like, well, he doesn't eat and he doesn't sleep. She's like, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. We'll have that. And I'm like, she's had so many failed experiments. You're really confident on the first person that we're going to resurrect.
Yeah, but I mean, she's fixing all the problems. So, like, I guess good on her. Good on her. While we're out there, the Naga appears, and the Naga is a snake human-esque situation. Very cool. The important part about this interaction is essentially, because again, we're not quoting, but like, Kajal, what the fuck you doing here, my dear? You should like maybe go home. And Kajal's like, what? What? But then they fuck off. And she goes back to Tav, and Tav's asleep in his room. And then they start looking. The butterflies are looking. And then we have the secret note in the secret compartment that is like essentially, Tav, if you're reading this, I'm dead. It's one of those, essentially. It's like, yo, I had to do what I thought was the correct thing to do. It has to be done. It is what it is. So, my bad.
So, Tav is getting his answers and is like, this isn't how it was supposed to go.
Yeah. And, Tav, this isn't your fight alone. You shouldn't have to do this. It's like, okay. Interesting. So then he must be on the battlefield. He must have followed you to the battlefield. That's where he is. We should go back to the battlefield. It's like, okay. While they plan to do that, Kajal finds Javier and Rita in the garden. And that's not good. That's not good because Rita ends up dead. Here because she gets upset and Lisa attacks her. And you know what? It is what it is. We got another. We're dropping bodies. I
guess Lisa can't be like, when you're like, oh, she's doing it, no questions asked. So she can't really communicate. In a way, she can. We can say that. Like she tries to communicate with Kajal through repeated, like, would you say it was like telepathy? Where, like in the beginning, she's like, kill me. She's like, attack him. Like I feel like she's like that haunting spirit, very much alive, trying to communicate with her sister. And only her sister's like, what do you mean? Do you really want me to kill you? Like, I'm so close. Don't let me. But there's like the outreach is there while she's in her Buddha form.
Yes. I agree with you. I think it is some sort of like telepathy, some sort of like ghost tie. Yeah. The meeting of Cajal, Vivan, Tav, Kajal, not awesome. Not awesome, because Vivan and Cajal are like, Advaith. Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, bet. Bow, your majesty. Yeah. But no, though. But we're not going to discuss this right now. We're going to fuck off and go get your sister. But this, suspicious. And Kajal is like, all right, they're suspicious. All right, we need to go get your fucking brother's body. We have to go right now. Let's go lie to everybody, every single person. And they do that. There's a little fight that happens before they leave with Vritika and Kajal. And Vritika's like, oh my God, like my thing, like that's a Buddha. Like what is, like, And this is where Tav ends up healing Kajal, because Lisa turns that rage on Kajal when she can't kill Vritika, and it's the healing part, and it's like, oh, he's the Deva. This
moment,
yeah. It's very like ooh. But it's also the discussion of Tav's powers having limits, and Tav is not able to heal the dead fish in the lake, and that is showing us the blighted fish. That is showing us the limits of his power. So good to know.
Yeah, and like how but like, and how strong. Like he can't even bring a fish. Like, you know, when what was it we were reading with the Phoenix King, and you could understand like she could only form a little bit of fire, or it was like smoke. And even that happened in the David trilogy, where she was like trying and trying and trying, where your powers are like, you know, they're there, but even on something so small, they're not manifesting. And I feel like you're seeing, I guess we have read a lot more lore. I realized, like, I'm thinking, I was like, and this is like, we've read a lot.
The Naji appears again when we're at the lake and talks about the hala hala and how it's like this ancient cosmic toxin born of hatred, and gives her the rhyme, right? Together we flourish, blood, metal, venom. Again, we're paraphrasing. And it is, and then of course we leave and we go to the battlefield. We learn that Tav's memory is missing pieces. Spoiler. This is a big spoiler. This spoiler had me like just staring into space. Are you ready? They find Adit's body, and the fucking head is missing. The head is missing. And the legs are missing. He's in 3 pieces. When I tell you, I was shocked. I was not expecting this at all. I was like, oh my God.
And it's not just like, what happened to him? Like the way he's separated is very intentional.
Yes, it is very intentional. And it's like, and Tav is the one that's like digging and like looking for him and pulling him out of the dirt, and his like grief and horror. Like, where is his head? Like, where is it? It's awful. It is like, it's so sad. And the most awful thing is that his heart is beating. He's in 3 pieces, but his heart is beating. Yeah. And like, that is first sentence of the book. Hello, plot. But it is it's just terrible. It's just terrible. So we go back. We take the body back, and this is the confrontation between Cajal and Vivan, and they reveal themselves to be Danava, which are illusion demons, and they're demons, and they are the guardians of Advaith.
Which, when Kajal clocked them, when she was like, y'all are demon hunters, and they were like, we're not demon hunters. That was another where it was like, okay, there's something.
Yeah, it's like, all right. Because they were also like big and like powerful and like capable and like doing all this stuff. They did go get Lisa's body, and they cut off her finger and they like chuck it at Kajal, and they're like, yeah, fuck you. Go find the head, and then we'll talk about your sister, and we'll meet at the Sodi's house. So they like kind of pull in Danvir into this, and they're like, yo, you are the lorist. Where would the rest of his body be? And Danvir's like, well, I mean, there's these two places, like maybe. So they split. The party splits, and they say, all right, we're going to meet at the Sodi's. And then they go get the rest of the pieces. And we have like really lovely moments about the song Lotus Blossom. And they're like, Lotus Blossom. They say it at the same time. It's very cute.
And it's a song like, and it means a lot to Kajal because it's something that, you know, there's significance there with her and her sister. And then you hear it on, you know, she hears it on repeat and she's like, oh, there's a familiarity to the song. I like that it continues throughout the book.
Yeah. And something else that continues throughout the book is the Nagas. The Nagas pop up more and more. Here they end up saving everybody, which is like fun because Jadvet's like, you're a witch. Vritika's like, no, she's not. And everyone's like, where did y'all come from? Actually, like, we are on a quest. Like, where did you come from?
I like that when people, them. Yeah, the confusion. We're like, we know what we're doing here.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Yeah. But Jagvir is killed by the blight, speared through the chest. The Nagas rescue. And they're like, yo, go to the woods. Go to the creepy woods. And they go to the creepy woods. Very Black Witch-esque feeling I got with the creepy woods.
That's because I got Black Witch, specifically the Demontide vibes with the private lab.
Yeah. It's just, it's good. It's
good.
It's good. This whole scene, I think, is very good and very lovely. Again, a light touch here. It's a community of witches. The trees are very interesting. They feed them people. Very fun. Ranbir is here, though, and he is walking a circle around a mound. And Tav confronts Ranbir. Still can't call his weapon. And it is here that Kajal uses her blood to call these dead tree spirits to help stop Ranbir. And it is the witches are a little bit afraid of her for doing this. And Ranbir ends up dying in Tav's arms. And he thinks that Tav is Advaith. And he's like, I'm sorry. I don't know what I did to have you do this and like revoke your protection. Like I am very sorry. But they find the fucking head, which is the point, and then they get the fuck out of there. But there are quiet moments between the leaders of the witches, which is Ruhi and Kajal. Again, there's many different forms of darkness and different shades of color. And again, quiet moments, very lovely. Surprisingly, we are getting close to the end of the book here, because we're back at the Sodi's and Advaith is resurrected immediately.
How is it so seamless? Is it like, do you feel like it's because it was how the pacing?
Maybe because everything is just like, bam. Advaith wakes. Did it, again, paraphrasing, did it feel not so great when my weapon found you in your belly? My brother, again, jaw on the floor.
Yes. I was like, wait. I feel like it was like, this was a moment where I reread it because I was just like, how sometimes you're like, I think I read that wrong. Have they turned on each other the whole time?
Yeah, because then you're like, what?
Because there was this whole thing, because then that's the whole thing of, oh, do you not remember? And then there were other people, they were like you said, Lisa was like, oh, I remembered everything. But Tav didn't. Kajal didn't. They were like missing pieces of their memory unbeknownst to them.
All right. So what is going on? Okay. Tav starts to like kind of piece it together and he's in this absolute shock. He goes, oh my God, you were with Bakshi. You were with Bakshi. And he's like, yeah. And Advaith is like, yeah, fucking Bakshi. Like, he tricked me. And then we get this plot. We'll go through it quickly. Advaith is like, did it work? the hala hala, Lord Ducka said that we had to fight and that it would be, balance would be restored. And Lord Ducka said when we would fight, it would create an excess of tamas. And, the Yakshas, they don't really like us. And they prefer humans, and we need to even the playing field. And this is going to be our attack on the gods to restore balance. And our fight was just going to be a stage. That's what he told me. And as we fight, the tamas will build, and they'll write everything. And everyone's looking at him like, what?
Yeah,
what?
You're like, you were in on it the whole time. You were tricked. But also,
what?
Yeah.
What? But then Advait starts to get angry. He's like, Bakshi, why is he on my throne? My throne. Like, are you, what? Why did Lord Ducka allow the hala hala to spread so much? Where is he? What is going on? And mind you, he has a line of black X's where they've sewed his head back on, and his eyes are a little red rimmed a bit. And it's just this image. You're like, woo, my godness. But also the important part here is that Advait also cannot call his weapon. And because he cannot call his weapon, he cannot get into Patala to confront Lord Ducka because he can't call the gates. So this is all plot. And Advait, though, kind of being evil, really not doing much to say that he's not evil, is like, oh, Kajal, go lock up. You're going to get locked up, though. Go to the cellars.
Yeah, he's not doing himself any favors, and you're just like, here we were trying to get you on the throne, brought Tav, and he's like, I'm going to do what I want. I'm like, he's screwing over the people who brought him back.
Yeah, he's screwing over the people that brought him back. He's not even really realizing it yet. But Kajal is starting to have doubts because Kajal is like, did you know this, Kajal? Did you know that he was planning this? And she's like, I knew that he was talking to Lord Ducka. I didn't know that he was fucking doing any of this.
Yeah.
Any of this. So what I want you to do, Kajal, is go tell Tav that I will work with him, but he needs to tell me absolutely everything, and the sisters need to be united right now. And Kajal's like, all right, bet. Meanwhile, Dalbeer tries to get them out of the cellar, and they're sneaking through the house, and then Advait is like, hi, friends. What are we doing? Where are you going? Come sit with me. I need to show you something. Spoiler. Huge spoiler. Here's your resurrected sister, Kajal. Here she is. Isn't this lovely?
Isn't this what you wanted the whole time?
And everyone's like, ooh. And Kajal's like, this is sinister. What's happening right here. This is fucking wild. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Okay. Meanwhile, we have some ranting going on, and poor Dalbeer is dropping all of the lore, being like, you could make a new key, my guy. Your weapon is just this conduit thing. You could also technically maybe, as the Asura, control the blight. And, you could even probably use bodies to generate a lot of energy to open the gate. You could probably do that.
You don't need your weapon.
Yeah, you could probably do that. And then, Lisa being resurrected, BT Dubs, they're twins. BT Dubs, they are.
Did you know they were twins?
No, and it is not indicated at all, really, at all.
Even, because that was, I know sometimes you're on the second read, you're like, oh, duh. But I feel like there's nothing that indicates it in that second read to say that they're twins.
No.
Even when they're talking about their childhood, going from village to village, or even with with Kajal on her journey, and she would be in the present day moment, and then there would be like, oh, this is how my sister would have acted. Like, even in those flashback moments or like remembrance moments of Lisa, there was no indication.
Yeah, absolutely not. But Advaith is like, oh my God, y'all are fucking dumb. Can you not even just look at them and see that they are this generation's Asura and Deva? Like, why do I gotta be the one? Like, come on, people, catch up. That's what it felt like Advaith was like. When he starts to petition Kajal to help him go to Navarada to open the gates by using the bodies of the witch hunters. He's like, we could do it. We could do it together. And they're like, why? Because, duh, there's 4 of us. There's 2 of each now. Like, let's do this. But it is here, though, that it's confirmed that Kajal and Lisa, like, kind of knew this, and that they were kind of inducted when they were little by a traveling priest, but they were never taken to the gods. It was never like divinely confirmed, and it was a problem for them, and they kind of just lived on the outskirts of everything so that it wouldn't make them a target, which I thought was very interesting.
Which also makes sense of like why throughout Kajal is always about blending into the trees, not wanting to be seen, and how she was so good at it for so long.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to make a choice. I'm going to make a choice. But before I do that, it is revealed that the uptick in Hala Hala spreading was because of Kajal herself trying to open the gates to Patala with her sister, and her sister died in that attempt. We know she died, but she died in the attempt to raise the gates, and that spurred on the Hala Hala because, again, an Asura killed a Deva, so that really helped it on, and then it started because of Advaith killing Tab in the beginning. So it is Advaith being like, all right, like, come on, take my hand. Let's really do this. Like, it's our fault, but like we can work together to have redemption, right? Like,
but this is where we have the split of Vivan and Sasal too, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. This is where Kajal takes the almond poison because she wants choice, but Advaith wants control. So she takes the choice away from. She takes control of her choice and takes the poison.
And this is where the follow-up comment. They were like, "I can't believe you would take your own life."
Yeah,
that was the conversation out of like thinking bigger picture. And honestly, I probably would have done the same because I've said that even in the Demon Tide, where I was like, you're not going to get shit from me.
Now, I'm going to make a decision to tell everyone that chapter 29 is a split, and we are introduced to a new character called Divya. Divya is a child that is friends with the Naga, and she's a witch, and she lives in Patala, and she befriends
Tav
and Advaith, but mostly Tav, and her and Tav end up having a relationship. I'm going to skip over all of these details. This is a really lovely little part of it that I think everyone should just benefit from reading, because then you also get a shit ton of world building about Lord Dukkha and, the Amrita and the celestial toxin and all of these things, and how the divine physician pours the divine nectar, Amrita, onto the Hala Hala, and from there the Nagas are born. Like, that is so fun. But the hint of immortality that the Ashura has is because the original Ashura stole some of the Amrita from the divine physician, and all of this. And it is because of these great crimes that they are reborn to live out their penance, and they're always twins. Like all of this world building, all of this stuff is solidified in this chapter, and I do think everyone would just like really benefit from reading it. I will say that years go by here. It starts off where she's like 5, Divya's like 5, and it's years where Divya and Tav have a platonic relationship, but they are friends to lovers.
But I don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it at all.
Like, this is like, usually I don't like, maybe it's just like you hear the story here and you're like, okay, that makes sense. That's cute. But like reading a friends to lovers.
Yeah.
No.
We have the Lotus Blossom song originates here. The necklace that Tav wears always and died with, and still wears originates here. The friendship with Buri originates here. And it's here, they have sex here. Good for them. It's here where Divya goes to the battlefield. And this is chapter 33. So this is where we will talk. So we went from 29 to 33. This is where we'll go. This is where Divya meets Tav on the battlefield. This is the plot. This is what actually happened. Spoilers! This is what actually happened, okay? Divya goes and finds Tav on the Harama plain during this battle, and it's like, you fucking left me, guy. What the hell? What? Like, our drama in the middle of like this war, but okay.
Also, respect. She's like, I'm not waiting for you to come back from this.
Like,
we're talking about it right now. Like, we love it. But then Bakshi appears. And Bakshi appears next to Advaith. And it's like, ooh, okay. And then there was a subplot where it was like, this Bakshi cannot know that we are the Deva and the Asura. Like, we're keeping that secret. But he knows now. He knows because he's working with Advaith. And Advaith is like, all right, here's my confession. I'm here under Lord Dukkha's orders. And he's like, fuck you, Divya. What the fuck are you doing here? Shut up. And Divya's like, wow, he never talked to me like that before. Okay. He's like, I'm here to create the hala hala. Like, here we go. Are you ready? Like, here we go. And then Advaith just rams like straight at Tav. And Tav is staring at his brother like, what the absolute fuck are you doing? And doesn't raise his weapon to block him, which is like what Advaith was hoping, that they would have this divine battle. That was like the stage that was set. But Tav just like stands there shocked, and Advaith's weapon goes straight through and like guts him. And that is what actually happened. And Tav's like, and he's like, why didn't you fight me? He said that this was the only way. You needed to fight me. Tav's like, why would I fight you? Like, why would I fight you? And then, I feel like there's always that situation in like mythology and lore. You have, when, especially with the brothers, especially when it's like two family members, that it's like you have the one who thinks like, well, I have to fulfill this prophecy that's being told to me. And the other one's like, well, why don't we not and break generational curses? Why do we need to like repeat these things? And
it's like,
the other one who's like, I never thought of that before.
Well, and here's where Divya is a bad bitch. Divya's a bad bitch. She sees all this shit happen. She sees Advaith just straight up like gut Tav. And she starts screaming, pulls out her dagger, and stabs Advaith right through the fucking chest. Oh my God. She just doesn't hesitate. Woo.
We love when people do the thing.
We love it. Oh my God. We love it so much. And Bakshi's like, oh, bet you just made it easier for me. We have to take precautions though. And Bakshi cuts off the head and cuts off the legs. And this is where Divya is like, what the absolute shit? Her third eye opens. And this is where she hits Bakshi with it. And Bakshi's eye goes red. And she curses him and says, you'll have a life of pain and uncertainty. Everything will suck for you. But he ends up killing Divya. Back she does. And as she falls close to Tav, and she like tries to crawl her way towards Tav, and their arms are outstretched. They're like reaching towards each other, and they start like humming the song, right? And then he dies. Very sad. I can see it. It's very epic.
I want to see it.
Yeah, very epic. They're like reaching for each other. Amazing.
And you love a good Indian mythology, like you love like Bollywood movies too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I do. So, this is the end of the book. Bina, she's a real one too. She pops up and she's like, Jesus Christ, Divya, what the fuck did you do? I'm going to take your body. It's okay. I'll burn your body. I'll release you. Like, we'll meet again, right? This is the cup of forgetting. And they leave a sliver of memory in the like soul of Divya so that she can remember everything, and that's what they want. They're like, she has to remember, then it'll work. It's like, oh, okay. So this is it. This is Divya like wakes up and well, I mean it's Kajal, but Kajal remembers her time as Divya, and she and Tav kind of have a Divya, yes and no, yes, but also Kajal. And then Kajal looks at Advaith, is like, yo,
I remember, motherfucker, you killed my man.
And she says the exact words that he said to Tav when he woke up. She says right back to him. She says, yo, did it feel not so great when my giant knife
went through you?
Went through you, asshole? And he's like, oh, Divya, hi. Hello. Hi. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Cool. And Divya's like, all right, so you were tricked, and let me just lay out everything that's happening. Because like Divya didn't understand, but me as Kajal, I get it. So this is the plot. Lord Dukkha, he wants to dominate and have a land full of Rakshasas. So like, duh. What duh? Hello. And that's why he's doing all of this. And what are we going to do about it? Anybody going to do anything about it? And Advaith is like, yeah, I'm going to do the correct thing, the totally right thing. I'm going to control all these dead soldiers with the blight. And that energy is going to create the gates. And then we're going to go through the gates, and we are going to confront Lord Dukkha, and we are going to figure out what's going on. And Advaith, Tav, and Jassi go through the gates to find Lord Dukkha and have that adventure. It is what it is. And it's like on their way to Patala, and then Kajal like has her necklace, and like she's like, I'm going to return home no matter what. And like Bina is there. She's like, you remember, like, let's go, like rah. Sazal, it's here where Sazal defects and stays with them.
Yeah, because this is where Vivan is like, okay, we're going to follow Advaith now. And Sazal says, I'm going, I can't quote it. I forgot. I was like, I can't quote it directly. But he's essentially like, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm going to stay here with the actual Asura. And he was just like, well, I wish you will.
I wish you would. Yeah. Goodbye. Peace.
Yeah. I mean, this is the end of the book.
Yeah, that's how it ends. And of course, we know it's a series, so we'll have books 2, which obviously we're going to go confront Lord Dukkha and see what else is going to go on. It's rad. I'm excited. I love it. The cover is purple and with a little demon with like little horns. Like, it's great. I have nothing else to say. It's just so good.
I know. It was good and refreshing and something different. I can't say enough good things and educational, because I do feel like I had mentioned at the beginning, you can stop and like look up things and educate yourself and become familiar if you're trying to get some like idea of like what something is, or learn more about a culture in a way that doesn't feel like it takes away from the reading experience if you don't know what's going on. You know, I feel like it's such a fun book if it's like matriculated into coursework, if it's seen in libraries and public schools, any school really. I don't know. I feel like it checks so many boxes that I'm kind of sad that we hadn't heard about it sooner, but grateful that we did.
Very grateful that we did. And it's also YA. So, a little broader, I guess, like broader appeal maybe. And also, hooray for diverse books for a younger audience. Always love that.
Absolutely. But with that being said, feel free to follow us on Instagram. We're at ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.